Warning: spoilers ahead for Novocaine. It might seem like Novocaine ends about as happily as it could under the circumstances of the story, but it actually sets up a sequel that could blow the movie up into a John Wick-style franchise. After risk-avoidant Nate, Jack Quaid meets the woman of his dreams and starts living life a little more fully. He finds himself going on a murder spree to save her when she's taken hostage during a bank robbery. There are a lot of twists and even more violence, but Novocaine's ending leaves Nate learning to enjoy the riskier side of life. The conclusion might not sound like it leaves a lot of room for sequel potential. And considering Novocaine's real-life superpower CIPA is a legitimate genetic disorder with a life expectancy of only 25, it requires some suspension of disbelief for Nate to survive the first movie at all. But it's neither the ending nor the premise that provides the potential plot of Novocaine 2 on its own. While the directors haven't spoken much about the story's future just yet, attentive viewers likely caught signs they might be angling for a second installment fairly early in the runtime. Novocaine's big twist might appear to be the one wherein Sherry, Amber Midhunter, is only pretending to be a hostage so that her brother Simon, Ray Nicholson, can get away with the bank robbery, but there's a more subtle twist earlier when fellow robber Andra, Conrad Kemp, tells Simon to remember that he's not actually the one in charge. Andra says that Simon's only the one running point, implying that someone with more power is pulling the strings from the shadows. Based on the size of the ship, the movie cuts to when Simon's escaping to the harbor. That person is likely well connected. Although Novocaine never actually shows Simon's boss, it can be reasonably assumed that they're going to have some opinions about the events of this film. Not only did Nate kill everyone they hired for the robbery, but Sherry betrayed the team and helped Nate recover the stolen money. Simon was willing to murder his own sister over her betrayal. The head honcho would probably have no qualms about doing the same after being denied their big payout. Assuming Novocaine's positive reviews are enough to earn the movie a sequel, it's not too difficult to guess at its basic premise. The story would obviously revolve around Simon's unnamed boss getting revenge on Nate and Sherry, and the timing could affect how that plays out. If the sequel takes place within 7 months and 19 days of the first movie, the boss will likely send someone after Sherry while she's being held in prison. Having Nate find out and have to save her while surrounded by cops would certainly raise the stakes. Nate and Sherry aren't the only ones with possible targets on their backs. Roscoe, Jacob Batalon, and Mincy, Betty Gabriel, both helped Nate and Sherry, and it would make for decent dramatic irony if Roscoe in particular wound up in the crosshairs after begging Nate throughout the first movie not to involve him. Additionally, if the boss is trying to get their money back in addition to seeking revenge, that could also put Earl's Lal Beatty Jr. life in danger. But no matter who's in danger, Novocaine already established why any effort by Nate to save them would lead to even further sequels. The long list of Nate's crimes in Novocaine includes stealing a cop car, killing a man while trashing a restaurant's kitchen, blinding a man, breaking and entering, gifting stolen money, and killing 2 more people for good measure. But because he's a white banker, Mincy's words, and because he saved Mincy's life, which was technically Roscoe and Sherry's doing, Nate only gets 6 months of house arrest and 5 years of probation. This sounds like a sweet deal, but a sequel would rip it away in a heartbeat. Since Nate probably can't go on another killing spree without having his probation revoked, the only way to end a Novocaine sequel without Nate dead or in prison is for him to wind up on the run. If he's still being targeted by criminals, this would set up a John Wick-style storyline that puts Nate constantly on the move in search of solutions to insurmountable problems. And given the strength of the first movie, raising the stakes that high would be incredibly fun to see.